I want to talk to you about the number one way to get a demon. Let me state clearly, I don't want you to get a demon. I'm not telling you the number one way to get a demon so you will open your life to demonization. This is a warning about what not to do to get a demon. By avoiding the easiest way, I pray that you'll avoid every way that you might fall prey to an evil spirit. The number one way to get a demon is transactionally. A transaction is defined as buying or selling something. It's like a business deal. In a broader sense, it's an exchange of interaction between two parties. Let me give you an example. You walk in a store, pick out a product, go to the cashier, hand over your credit card, it's processed, and you walk away with your purchase. You have transacted a relationship between seller and buyer. Here's the spiritual application. There's something called transactional theology, and that can, quite frankly, be complicated. But here are the basic issues. Transactional religion can be as simple as believing that the atonement of Christ on the cross was transactional. He offers something, salvation, and by faith, when you trust in Him, you receive that salvation. It is transacted. However, transactional theology can get messy and result in a slot machine legalistic view of God. You do something for God and then He does something for you. The hyper view of transactional theology is found in the prosperity gospel. The idea that you get from God something directly proportional to what you've given to Him. Seed faith, for example. It isn't a bad idea, but it can be perverted into a transactional view of blessings involving direct equivocation. By this, I mean the concept that your spiritual and financial benefits of being a Christian are directly related to the quantity of your investment in God's kingdom. And that is usually calibrated by the size of a donation to a particular ministry. Give, for example, $1,000 to a certain internet or television evangelist, and you'll receive your miracle from God proportionately. This kind of transaction is actually a form of spiritual abuse, and it's unbiblical. My purpose is not to look at the many aspects of transactional theology regarding salvation, all the way from extreme free will to hyper-Calvinism. I want to warn you about transactional demonization, which is the number one way to get a demon. This concept is like what's known in spiritual warfare as a legal right. But transactional spiritual engagement is more exact and binding. It's a form of making a covenant with the devil. Here's a good example. During a recent virtual encounter that I was doing, I confronted a demon who claimed the right to a man because he had gone to a psychic spellcaster and paid to curse someone who had offended him. I countered the demon. I said that the person was now a Christian and had consulted the medium in ignorance. Here's how the demon responded. Quote, "That psychic was my agent, and when this man paid for the spell, he colluded with sorcery that gave me a transactional right to enter him. Until that is canceled, I can stay." Close quote the demon. That's demonic logic. But the evil spirit was actually factually accurate. I led the individual in a prayer to renounce that transaction and place the sin, seeking a psychic, under the blood of Jesus Christ. And the demon was cast out. But the warning stands. The easiest way, maybe the number one way to get a demon, is to transactionally enter into an agreement with the devil through some evil action. Here's some examples. paying to have your tarot cards read or your horoscope cast, following a Hindu-based yoga instructor whom you paid to teach asanas to you. That's the positions in yoga. Or you buy a New Age book like The Secret. Or you pay for an abortion. That's a blood sacrifice transaction. Practicing Eastern meditation, that can be the same thing, especially as part of a cult to which you financially contributed. That's a transactional agreement with mind control spirits. Deuteronomy chapter 28 is a good example of transactional spirituality. God lists his promises of obedience. Then he warns of the curses coming from disobedience when a person transacts with the lies of the devil by spiritual rebellion. After what you've heard, you need to schedule a virtual encounter with me so we can review your life to see where you have entered into transactions with the devil. Uncovering transactional bondage sometimes requires the objective view of someone like myself outside of you to spot these things. A transactional covenant, agreement with demons, may take a lot less than you think. It could be the easiest way to get a demon, maybe even the number one way that you get a demon.
Your financial support and prayers make it possible for us to bring hope for the hurting and freedom to those in spiritual bondage. For the latest information regarding ministry outreaches, go to boblarson.org or call 303-980-1511.